Hello again, this is Preheat. Welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. So the beta has been out for about a week, and I, like many of you, have been enjoying my time on it. I've been playing a lot of Mage and Devourer, and I've been picking up a lot of tips and tricks as I go. And today we're going to list out 5 Devourer tips that are going to help you improve your damage quite a bit. Now, this is not going to be a guide. We're just going to be kind of listing off little things that might help you out. And these are going to be ranging from stuff that seems kind of obvious, like common sense stuff that you may not be aware of, or maybe you are. And as we go through them, they're going to get a little bit more out there. So here's the deal. If I give you a tip that helps you improve your damage, something that you have not heard any other content creator talk about, or something you haven't even thought of yourself, I want you to make me a deal right now. You're going to click like and you're going to subscribe to this video if you haven't already subscribed to me. So if you're willing to accept the terms there, we're just going to go ahead and get started. All right, coming at number 1. So important to note that when it comes to your damage as Devourer, a lot of it is coming from 2 stats mainly. It's going to be your haste and your mastery. And you can actually increase your damage substantially just by using this trinket. This is the Velgar's Final Stare. Make sure that you're using this trinket. If you're on the beta, you can just buy it from the trinket vendor. It's a 1.5 minute cooldown, and it increases your mastery. Now, mastery for Devourer is actually very, very strong right now. It increases your damage just overall, and it also increases your Void Metamorphosis damage. That's going to be really important because that's where our burst comes from. Now, what's really great about this is if we read the tooltip, it says, while in Void Metamorphosis, this bonus is increased by an additional X%. So essentially, you're getting like a huge amount of damage bonus from the mastery. And I'm just going to show you real quick. If I just pop this trinket and I mouse over the mastery, take note, it says 3340 right now. Right click. Now it says 6072, and it's going to scale down over time. This trinket rapidly degrades. But yeah, massive, massive damage increase just by using this trinket at the start of your Void meta. And we're going to talk about why it's at the start. You can also use that at the end, but we'll get more into Collapsing Star in just a little bit. Now, if you want to take this a step further, you can also use the Reckless Potions. This is going to further increase that bonus since it's going to be your highest stat by an additional 2,300. Now, if we use both of these together, we're looking at upwards of like 150% damage increase. This is going to substantially increase the damage on your Collapsing Stars. Now, just to give you an example of the difference here, this is just a Void Metamorphosis where I used the trinket and the potion, everything, and you can see how high it peaks here. And then here is without using it. So you can see that there's a pretty substantial difference at the start here. But we can even take this a step further by front loading the Void Metamorphosis to put as much damage at the start during this window while we have our potion, while we have our trinket up. And that brings us to tip number 2, soul priming or double Collapsing Star. Okay, so the trick here is very straightforward. You can only hold 50 souls, right? But you can have souls on the ground. Having souls on the ground basically puts them in a state where they're not quite in our resources yet, so we can almost like overcap on souls. So if we use a Void Ray right before we enter our Void meta, we can use up whatever excess Fury we have, as long as we have over 100. So you can just get up to that. And then as soon as you exit that Void Ray, you can pop your Void Metamorphosis, and then you can go for that Collapsing Star after you use your Trinket and Potion. That's what I'm going to go for right here. And then as you can see, as we're casting this Collapsing Star, we already have 6 souls that have kind of carried over, right? We've like started having them just automatically zap back to us from the ground. And then you can see that there's also 10 on the ground as well. So as this Collapsing Star ends, we're going to use our Eradicate, which is Reap in Void meta if we have a Void Ray. So it's going to be Eradicate there if we have that talent. And then boom, we're instantly up to 17. So we're actually more than half of the way towards a second Collapsing Star already. So now we're just going to use our Void Ray again. And then we can use Eradicate again. And boom, that puts us at Collapsing Star. So that is double Collapsing Star. Just to show another example here. So we're Void Raying right before our Void Metamorphosis. And then we pop it and use the trinket. And then we start casting Collapsing Star. Notice how I already have 8 souls towards my next one. There's 10 on the ground. Collapsing Star is going to produce more souls. Boom, we hit the Eradicate, Void Ray. And we're already at 21 souls here. We're going to use our Eradicate again. Boom, that puts us at 30. Collapsing Star. We have 1 carrying over. And that's the double Collapsing Star. All right, so this one's just for Mythic Plus, but if you have this talent Doomsayer, which you should probably be using, it's really, really strong. It makes it so that whenever you use your Void Ray, if you're out of combat, or if you just started combat, you get an additional proc of those Voidfall Meteors, and if you've been playing this class, you know they do a lot of damage. So all you got to do is be a Night Elf for this one, and if you're a Night Elf and you pop your Shadow Meld, technically in Mythic Plus, as long as you aren't like in raid combat, this is going to put you out of combat. So essentially what you do is your opener, and then whenever you get to your second Void Ray, all you have to do is just pop your Shadow Meld right before you use that second Void Ray, and you're going to get a second proc. This essentially makes Night Elf a damage bonus. All right, so this tip is just if you're outside of Void Metamorphosis, but if you find yourself in a situation where you're using your Void Ray and then the target dies abruptly, a little earlier than you're expecting, all you have to do is just press escape on your keyboard, or you can use like a shift or any other action that's going to cancel that ability. You want to cancel the Void Ray usually in this situation, because that way you retain your Fury. So if you cancel it right here, notice how my Fury is still at 79 here, instead of just spending all my Fury and getting nothing back for it, being stuck while I'm doing that, channeling the I-Beam, doing no damage at all. This is going to help you just move from mob to mob very quickly. And also, just a little quick tip, if you go into war mode and you get this talent right here, Beckon, very, very strong. Anytime you press Reap, it's going to make your consume instant cast. And I really hope they make this one like a legit talent, because it feels really good to play. All right, so this one I like to call the Vengeful Advance. So if you watch me stream and you're wondering how I do things like this, where I Vengeful Retreat forward like this, this is done just with in-game options. There is an option that you probably never even messed with in your keybinds. If you go over the keybinds and you go to camera, it is called Save View. So I'm going to have to shout out my guildmate Vanya for showing me this. I had never even thought to use this. But just by using a key binding for this, saving a view that's exactly opposite of what your character is normally looking at. So basically, you know, if you line yourself up and then you turn your camera all the way around, if you press your keybind for save view 5, completely flipped, okay, and then you use this macro right here, it's going to be in the comments. Basically what this is doing is it's setting your view to that, and then it's flipping your camera around. All we have to do is have that on a keybind. And then if we're moving and then we press that keybind, it's going to flip our camera like so. See that? Now the trick is, if you turn your camera at all, then your character will face the direction that you were moving before. So we just have to move our camera up and down like we're shaking our head yes, just like so as we jump, and then we press the button. It pushes us forward instead of backwards. It takes a little practice because you have to press like basically 3 keys really fast. Just, you know, macro, Vengeful Retreat, macro. If you're having trouble with this, by the way, the best way to figure out if you have it like almost down is just jump and then press it, and just practice like turning your character backwards like while you're jumping. Like if you're doing this, you're just 1 step away, right? All you have to do then is just incorporate the Vengeful Retreat in between and then turn your character back. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I will say in leveling, like I use this trick a lot, and I think it definitely made me faster. So yeah, those are going to be my Devourer tips for today. So if anything here was useful, if you like anything you saw in this video, remember the deal we made at the start, right? You got to click the like on the video, and you also got to subscribe to the channel now, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.